So the Arizona forensic audit was an even bigger circus than we thought. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Reiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. If you share my concerns, maybe you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, maybe even click that little bell that will notify you when I post something new. So the big news concerning the Arizona audit is the fact that it found, surprise, surprise, Joe Biden won by an even bigger margin than they had originally said. This conclusion points to an even bigger amount of incompetence on the part of the people running the audit. After all, if there was any mission they had, it was to find some way to show that Donald Trump had actually won the state. And they couldn't even do that. Arizona, as you know, is one of the closest states that Biden won, and it was particularly bothersome to Trump given the fact that Fox News called for Biden relatively early on election night. Prior to Fox News making that call, the rumor is that Donald Trump was getting ready to make some type of statement saying that the election was in chaos and that results weren't going to be clear and that he was going to have to step in. But that all got blown up when Fox News made the call. And the analyst from Fox News who called it right ended up being fired from his job as a result of pressure from Donald Trump and the fury over the Republican activists over his call that was correct. Now Arizona has gone through multiple official recounts, all of them confirming the result that we already knew, that Biden won the state. But not satisfied with that, the Republican-controlled state Senate ended up starting this forensic audit, which was opposed, by the way, by virtually all of the officials in the state who are tasked with actually administering election law. All of them, by the way, who are Republican. The audit, which was run by a Florida company called Cyber Ninjas and is owned by a vocal supporter of Donald Trump, who had supported the big lie that Trump actually won the election, ended up violating all kinds of norms with this audit, not carefully maintaining the paper trail as was required for real recounts, having people who are actually involved in the January 6th insurrection involved in the counting, and being funded largely by $7 million in donations from private individuals, something that is absolutely forbidden under state law. In an effort to try to justify all the money and expense that was spent to simply confirm that Biden had won the state, in a report they made several recommendations to try to address what they viewed as irregularities with the 2020 vote. But most of those irregularities have also been debunked. For example, there was a claim that 23,434 mail-in ballots may have come from addresses that voters no longer occupied. But that claim was based upon research using a commercial address database that itself did not include 86,391 of the county's registered voters, and like most lists, is not current. And it also ignored the fact that someone who's a registered voter can vote and then move, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now another Republican report claims that the organizers, quote, made up the numbers of the report, which makes it seem that they were even more incompetent. If they made up the numbers, they would have made up the numbers in a way that made it seem like Trump had won. It turns out, according to this analysis, that there were all kinds of votes that were not counted. And there appear to be numbers that back that up, indicating that there was a certain count that was smaller than the number of ballots that was returned. This is just showing even more what a circus this whole process was. But the point is, none of this matters. According to a recent poll, 78% of Republicans now believe that Biden did not win the election. Talk about motivated reasoning. How many lawsuits have been thrown out indicating that he won the election? How many recounts have been done? He clearly won the election. But we're missing the point of their arguments. When they say the election was stolen, they're not saying that the election was stolen because there was some kind of fraud committed. They're saying the election was stolen because the wrong people were allowed to vote. Who are those wrong people? Well, they're people who are not white, Christian, and just like them. Anybody who's different should be excluded from the ability to vote. And that's borne out by the dangerous laws that are being passed across the country in Republican states to try to restrict the vote of people of color. This is a grave threat to American democracy, and it just shows that it doesn't matter what these reports come up with. As long as these Republicans can somehow justify to themselves that they are actually doing something reasonable by taking the position that Donald Trump actually won the election, they're going to continue to do so. The sad truth is that at this point, there's only one party in America that still believes in democracy. It's no longer simply two parties that may disagree on policy. It's two parties that disagree in terms of whether America should be a democracy in which everybody's vote gets counted, or America is a white supremacist totalitarian nation. Well, if you agree with me or disagree with me, I'd love to see your comments down below. And if you could leave a like and maybe subscribe to this channel, that'd be a huge help. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.